Before you buy curriculum, before you go ahead and start that brand new lesson plan and that beautiful new binder that you just bought, there are 3 things that make a foundational gold mine for your homeschool. And I'm going to be talking about that today. Without these, however, you can start homeschooling confused, unsure, and ultimately on the pathway to failure. And we don't want that. So today, let's go ahead and dig into those 3 tips in order for you to start your homeschool on the right foot. Welcome to Miss Asia Educates. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. First things first. The very first tip is know your state laws before you begin your homeschool. First things first, you need to know your state homeschool laws before you begin. Now, these are going to be your bread and butter of your homeschool. You can't start homeschooling until you know the legalities of everything. So what you're going to do is you are going to go on Google or DuckDuckGo or whatever browser that you're on, and you are going to look up your state's
laws
or
from whatever
state you're from. Why these are so important and why these matter is because laws help protect your homeschool. Number one, okay? They protect you from just anything. Like, so for example, most states, they require you to register your homeschool, or they require you to do record keeping, such as keeping track of your grades, keeping track of your test scores, and keeping track of your attendance. So all those things are super important, especially to the state. So if they decide to do a home visit or whatever the case may be, you'll have all your ducks in a row. Okay? So make sure that you study those state laws. And I suggest that you do it in the beginning of the year, right? And then also, if you're actually brand new, you're in the first 1 to 3 years, I would suggest to even look at them at the beginning of the year and also in the middle of the year, just to make sure everything is set up correctly within your homeschool. All right. When you actually understand the laws, then if someone were to ask questions and so forth, you know how to answer them and you know what you're able to do and what you're not able to do. Also, it sets you up for success and it sets you up with confidence because guess what? Your homeschool is now official and it's registered and you are good to go. So, of course, number one thing that you need to do to start your homeschool on a successful path is to study, is to read over and make sure you understand those laws and then also to abide by them. Okay? So here's a simple takeaway. When you know the law, you can focus on teaching, not worrying. All right, so make sure you get that done. All right, so let's go ahead to the second thing parents need to do before they decide, as they decide to homeschool, and that is review over your state standards. Okay, whatever state that you're in. Of course, notice that I'm saying state a lot. Every state is different. Every state has different laws. Every state has different workings, right? Understanding your state standards will set you up for success, especially if your state requires, which a lot of states do. I think more than half of the states require you to do state testing every single year, starting, I believe, in 2nd or 3rd grade or even earlier. So it's good for you to at least know where your child is going when it comes to those state standards. But not only just for the state, because I know a lot of people homeschool to get out of that system, but state standards are not what people may think. You're not saying yes to, the society or the government, or it can be whatever the reason is for you not homeschooling. What you're saying yes to when you review over the state standards is, okay, this is a guideline. State standards are simply a guideline of what your child needs to know at a specific grade level and a specific age. That is it. All right. It's not you have to follow this way. It's simply a guideline for you to know, hey, what does an average 1st grader need to know at this point? What is an average kindergartner? Hey, what does an average 8th grader needs to know, et cetera, okay? For all your subjects. So by reviewing your state standards, you become more confident about what to teach, all right? And then you'll be able to pull those things out of your curriculum that you are using, right? Because the curriculum, honestly, it doesn't within itself, especially what I have noticed, is it doesn't align with maybe what your what you may be trying to teach your child when it comes to the standards. So it's good to use your curriculum, use the standards as a guide, and then the curriculum to pull out those things that you want your child to learn. So personally, in my household, I always review over the standards first for the grade level. So my child was in pre-K / kindergarten. So I review over those standards. And then what I do is I take each standard and I turn it into learning targets. Learning targets are simply just simple, small goals that we want to achieve week by week or month by month to make sure that my child is achieving whatever the standard goal is, right? And I'll be going a little bit more depth in a future video. So make sure you like, comment, and subscribe in order to keep up with all that awesome stuff, especially if you are a beginner homeschool or you just want to kind of get in and you want to have a more structured approach to your homeschool goals. That's what Miss Asia Educates is all about. All right, so let's go ahead and continue. So yes, number 2, review over those state standards and those learning targets and look over those state standards, create learning targets or small goals. And then what you're going to do is you're going to use those learning goals to help you lesson plan so that your lesson plans are more organized. You can bring out those important pieces from your curriculum. And also you feel a lot more confident of where your child is and you'll be able to see the growth. Because one thing about some curriculums, or not all, but a lot of them, honestly, most that I've noticed is that they don't, I'm going to use a teacher word here, but they don't scaffold learning very well. All right. And scaffold just means you're just starting from simple ideas and you're teaching a learning concept simply, and then you're building on those concepts. A lot of times, a lot of curriculums, they jump around, and before you know it, your child's super confused because they didn't start from from simplicity and work their way up. So with understanding those standards, turn them into learning targets, and then eventually lesson planning to really bring those important points out so you can start from simple and then build on. It's going to change your child's idea of learning, and it's going to make your homeschool go so much more smoother, especially when it comes to instruction and it comes to your child understanding the concepts you're trying to teach them. So hope that goes. And here's a little key reminder. Ignoring standards can leave you unsure of what to do next, even with a good curriculum. So it's always good to review those standards just to know where you're going, and then you can build on your lesson planning and build in what your child needs to know. All right, so let's go ahead and go to that third and final foundational tip. All right, and it says we are going to be number 3. The third thing parents need to do is set clear goals. All right, make sure you set clear goals. I know I've said this in previous videos, but it's so important, especially in the beginning. We are in January right now. It's January 2026 when I'm creating this video. And a lot of times, this is the time where a lot of people decide to homeschool mid-year, right? A lot of things go down between August and December. And then for some reason, September is a really hot month for homeschools. August, September, the beginning of the year. But also, this is a very hot time for people to start homeschool, which is why I'm creating this video, and also just for the homeschool community in general. But anyway, I digress. You want to set clear goals during this time in the beginning, right? So you want to, and the goals should be around these 4 things. Number 1, they should be academic goals. So what is your child's academic goals for reading, math, writing, science, and social studies? All right. Just write out maybe 3 to 5 goals per subject to start out. And then, of course, you can always add on as you achieve those goals. But then, guess what? By doing this over time, when you look back a month, 3 months, a whole 6 months into homeschooling, you'll be able to see, wow, I actually achieved this goal. We're actually doing something. Learning is actually taking place. And it gives you motivation to just keep on going and to keep homeschooling. And then it also keeps your kids accountable. By setting goals, it's really, really fun to also, put it in a place where not only you can see it, but maybe even your child can see a goal that they're trying to achieve. Then they become even motivated to achieve those goals as well and be more engaged with what you're teaching them. So so you want to do academic goals. Another thing you want to do is personal goals. So these are just things that your child needs to get, that's going to get them prepared for life, right? So my children right now, they're learning how to have good manners. They're learning how to get dressed on their own, how to button up, zip, all those type of things, brush their teeth on their own, those type of activities independently, so that as they get older, they'll be able to know how to take care of themselves, how to clean the household, how to wash dishes. Those are different types of personal goals. And of course, you can even of course, whatever your child may be trying to achieve, that's going to make them, just be better and a better adult. You're going to lay those foundational life skills during those personal goals. So you have academics, you're going to set academic goals, you're going to set personal goals. That's going to basically help them with their independence and confidence in life. And then thirdly, but of course, I feel like is the most important, is you want to set those moral, those character building and spiritual goals, right? So those are super important for my family. So of course, my right now our goals, especially since of course we are Christian, so I'm just trying to get into the habit as a family. Our goal is to continue to read the Bible in the mornings. At night, they have a children's Bible, and then of course learn memory verses, just small memory verses that just help them really engage with the word of the Lord, and it gets into their heart and their spirit. And even though they're young, I remember that I actually started memory verses when I was very young, and then even now I'm able to just so quickly bring up scripture when it comes to living my life. And it's just been such an amazing thing is memorizing scripture. So of course, whatever those character building things that you have for your household and so forth, biblical principles, etc., that is a time to also set those goals and try to achieve them as well. Because homeschool is more than academics. We know that it's academic, it's personal, and of course it's character, it's moral, and it's spiritual. So set those goals accordingly. So number 3 was set the goals. And here is a simple truth about it. Goals give your homeschool direction. Without them, it's easy to feel lost. So go ahead and get that light in that dark tunnel and go ahead and set some goals and see how much your homeschool grows. Remember, it's not about perfection. It's about improvement. It's about growth. And setting goals will definitely get you there. All right. So here is a little biblical view here. So as you're working through these 3 things, knowing your state laws, understanding your state standards, and of course setting those goals, remember this: commit your work to the Lord and your plans will be established. Proverbs 16:3. Homeschooling is a process. You don't have to figure everything out today. I'm going to say it again. You don't have to figure everything out today. But when you commit this journey to the Lord, He brings clarity, order, and purpose to your plans. All right, so just remember that. So, and also in my next video, and of course here's the closing here. We are done. In the next video, I'll be walking through exactly how the standards work. And so I'll be showing standards on the screen, and then I'm going to show you guys how we can take those daunting standards and turn them into simple learning goals or learning targets, which are simple learning goals. It's going to help you lesson plan better. It's going to help you feel more organized, and it's going to help you feel on pace to see your child growing and learning according to the concepts and according to those standards that you reviewed. So if that sounds really good to you, make sure you like, comment, and of course subscribe. And if you know a parent who's just getting started or just needs a little bit of order in their homeschool day to day, go ahead and share this video with them. And hopefully this will be a great foundational encouragement. All right. Thank you so much for your time. Grace and peace. I'll see y'all next time. Bye-bye.